Hey everyone, welcome back to Film Ranks. Today I want to talk about Furiosa. So, what I want to talk about this film, well, first of all, spoilers. Spoilers, always. There's always going to be spoilers. So, spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about things that, weren't in the trailer. But I would say, before I even get to that, go watch this film. I think if you're a person, obviously an adult, and you're not fazed by violence and V8s and motorcycles and the desert, then I think this is going to be a great film for you. Like if you like action and adventure, and you're not too averse by gore, because this is a very gory film. Like I don't think that a lot of people are gonna really have a easy time watching it, because even for someone like me who plays a lot of gory video games, I think this movie is still pretty hard to watch sometimes at some points. Like it's gruesome, but not so much where like I need to stop watching it completely. But again, if you're able to handle all that stuff, totally fine. This film, honestly, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 right out the gate. I just want to say that right now because I don't know, like this is going to be one of these few film reviews where I'm just going to start with like what I think the rating is and explain it, because I feel like I talk about the film, give my rating, and then talk about the film more, and I'd rather just give my rating and just explain it to the end. Within all the films that have been coming out, I feel like this film is a refresher to what we get, especially with like Disney films and the reboots and the remakes and all kinds of changes to like stuff like Star Wars and other things that, like Marvel, like Star Wars and Marvel and all that kind of stuff. It's just getting kind of old, in my opinion. Like, I want to see stuff that I feel like I'm paying good money to watch and getting some kind of payoff by the end of the film. And the payoff is, an ending that sits well, a story that makes sense, that feels like I can, shut off the disbelief and I can just try to enjoy it to some aspect. To some degree, just enjoy the film. Like, just find things that make the film definitely worth the reason why I wanted to go watch it. I think the movie going experience has changed a lot over the years. Of course, we got streaming services, we got all kinds of easy ways to watch films and TV, like, just at home. Like, why go to the theater? But I like going to the theater for certain movies. Like, I regret not going to the theater for Kong and Godzilla. The movie that just came out was Godzilla and Kong. I regret not watching that in theaters. I definitely would have wanted to watch that in theaters, but sometimes you don't always get that chance. And for me, I'm okay with it. I could always watch Deadpool and Wolverine, all good. But to get back to the film, I think that my cons, if I have to start with my cons, Charlize Theron did not reprise the role. Obviously, Tom Hardy's character wasn't in here either, but the film was still good without them. Surprising to say that, but I think it was. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is a very great actress. I really liked the way she portrayed her character, took it serious, and made it believable. Chris Hemsworth, same thing. I didn't have too many high hopes for him at the beginning, because I just thought that he might have been the reason why Thor Love and Thunder was part of the reason why it wasn't so great. But honestly, I think Chris is a great actor. I just think that he was kind of lowballed in some of his films, because sometimes you just have to follow directions and play a character that could be written a lot better, and sometimes even if you're the best actor, actress, they all know that they can only work as good as what they're being given. So it's really hard to judge an actor and actress sometimes because they could be really good. It's just the story that's given to them doesn't really work well with like what they're trying to portray. So I think that's something that's more complex than people would like to believe. But other than that, he played a really great Dementis character. Like, I think a lot of people thought he was like the new Morton Joe or something, and that was not the case. Morton Joe is still here, and he's still menacing, and he's still pretty much the villain. And yes, this film is a prequel, as I should have mentioned before. This is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, and it's a great film. I really like Furiosa. I feel like this film had a lot of good things going for it, besides like, changing the casting from Fury Road. I like Anya Taylor-Joy's character more than anything because I just feel like it's really easy to want to root for her. This is a revenge story, so it is pretty sad to really see what happens throughout the film. But it's just nice to see how easy this film is, and like understanding it as like her character Furiosa lives in the green place. She gets abducted and taken to the wasteland, and she sees how the people in the wasteland are struggling for gasoline and go to Gas Town, literally the name of the town. And it's very simple in that sort of sense, like ABC sort of kind of thing, like point A, point B, and then subplot, and then C, and it's like pretty easy to understand. And yeah, I mean, of course, there's like higher powers between the Mantis and Morton Joe, and like not starting a war, all sorts of things. And just having like Anya's character like as a prisoner, and her just trying to find a way to escape. That's pretty much the simplest way I could put this film. So yeah, major spoilers, I know, but if you haven't seen this film, I honestly think it's worth watching it. And yeah, I mean, there's so much I can say about like, again, like the landscape of films these days and modern day films. I've covered it before on this channel, and I've made a long version of this as a part 2, but I don't think I really want to release that because I think there's, again, just not too many good things for me to say, honestly. Like, it's pretty, like, anyone who's seen the stuff that's being like remade into film these days, like, it's pretty easy to understand that we're pretty much done with that for the most part. It's very hard to make a really good remake, especially if you're trying to make the remake better than the original. That's very hard to do. Doesn't always work, and I think a lot of people are just craving original content. So hopefully that's a thing that we start seeing more, because I know that these companies like was like Marvel and Sony and Disney, like they're all pretty much capable of doing that. And yeah, I mean, not all the stuff they have is bad. It's just the ones that are bad are obviously bad. Like, I think it's pretty much common sense by now, but I think it's pretty much common knowledge by now, but I do believe that there's going to be better things coming out, because if there's like a bunch of flops coming out from like, studios like from Disney, if there's a lot of flops coming out from Disney, for example, it's only gonna make sense to start making things that people are gonna actually want to watch and give money and have more success. Like, I'm more than sure that that's what the point of making certain films are for Disney, is to make greater revenue, and they know what they have to do. It's like, it's not that difficult, but again, it's like pushing this progressive narrative onto everything that it touches, and not everyone is on board with that to that extreme degree they're doing it the way they're doing it. So my thing is like just focus on the stories, and if stories are good, people are gonna watch it. You know, you can have characters of all kind of backgrounds, but if the story isn't strong enough to hold everything together, then it's gonna fall apart pretty easily. So that's my argument to it. I don't think it needs to be very complex or controversial. It's just as simple as like make great stories and people are gonna go watch them. Because sometimes people can watch a movie that wasn't portrayed too well in the trailers and ends up being something a lot better than they thought. Those are rare gems, I will admit that, but you know, um, sometimes they end up being very successful, like Hobbs and Shaw. You know, I think that spin-off Fast and Furious movie, I didn't really think it was gonna be too good if it wasn't anyone from like the main cast. I didn't think that that film was gonna do too well because I think most people are interested in like the main cast from day one films, like the first Fast and Furious. There's characters like Dom and Brian and Rome and Tej. So to me, I don't know. Sometimes a film can be better than one can predict. Even with the Joker, that film did pretty good, and I didn't expect much from it. I just thought that, did we really need a Joaquin Phoenix Joker film? And I ended up being, um, I was, I was actually delightfully surprised that it was a lot better than I thought, and that's great. I like when movies are able to prove me wrong, and I know that you know, Disney Studios, like, I know I'm confident that Disney films can like again make the changes to like make films great, like the classics and stuff like that. Like I know that they're able to do it. Um, Even with Marvel films, like I'm sure they can again just be more serious, not focus too much on comedy and make relatable characters. Like I know that they can do it. I know not everything that comes out is bad, and I don't think anyone should just believe that everything that's coming out is just bad, but it's obvious when things are bad. So I think that the landscape of films are going to change within time, and that people are going to begin to be heard because, you know, it's going to only hurt the film studios that don't listen to their audience and lose millions of dollars just because they're too selfish or egotistical to think that they're gonna manage to survive flop after flop. And again, I don't think that Disney films, Marvel films are all flops, but it's pretty obvious when they are. So it's only just a matter of like, again, just looking into things and seeing what can be done better with the storylines and hook people into actually wanting to watch it. Anyways, I like to wrap this whole film review with Furiosa saying that I think it's a great film if you're okay with like gore and stuff, because it's kind of like horror quality gore and blood and stuff like that. I think you'll be able to handle this film fine. There's a lot of great shots in this film. I know that there's CGI, but I honestly think that the rest of the film holds up together where you don't really focus on that too much. And I think it's so one of a kind. And yeah, the war rig was one of my favorite things in this film. That's something I definitely want to mention. Like that scene was like the whole semi truck of death. That was the most cool thing I saw, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to agree with me on that one. So that's all I got for today's film review. Furiosa, go and watch it. Pretty great film, and you're not going to regret it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.